offensive line situation might have sparked NFL history, with the Browns being forced to make a decision that has never been made in the NFL before its full existence, bro. That is a team having to replace all 5 offensive linemen along the offensive line front. That's replacing everybody, all your starters for the following season. Now, there's a report that is coming out.
Shedeur Sanders was facing a staggering level of backstabbing from inside his own locker room. And now the truth is finally.
Sanders fires for the end zone. Open! Leaping up and grab. 3rd and 10. Sanders looking deep. He's got Bond out there. Drops. Bears bring pressure. Sanders throwing. Looking for Bond. Over the middle. Drops it in. This speed.
Time in the red zone. Off the boot. Sanders connects with tight ends here on 2nd down.
Look at it.
In trouble. Now steps back. Get away.
Like that.
Got it. Complete at the 15. Second possession.
Bruh, this clip alone, I don't want to hear nothing from Cleveland media, bruh. This clip alone is going to kill all the debate, bruh. I don't know why.
The men responsible for this incredibly toxic environment are getting exactly what they deserve, and the fan base is out for blood. But how did one of the most storied franchises in football reach a point where they had to completely nuke their roster just to save their quarterback? The answer goes way deeper than anyone thought. And it all started with a blueprint of betrayal drawn up by the very man supposed to lead them. Kevin Stefanski's tenure in Cleveland was supposed to be a masterclass in offensive efficiency. But behind closed doors, a massive power struggle was brewing. The former head coach had a completely different vision for the future of the franchise. And that vision allegedly revolved around Dillon Gabriel. When the front office pivoted and placed the keys to the kingdom in the hands of Shedeur Sanders, a deeply rooted resentment began to fester. Instead of adapting and building a scheme to highlight the incredible arm talent of his new franchise quarterback, the old regime opted for a toxic alternative. They decided to prove the front office wrong by ensuring the new quarterback would fail. This wasn't just a simple disagreement over playbook terminology. It was an active, calculated effort to sideline a superstar during the most critical moments of the season. The offensive strategy was slowly altered. Play calls became suspiciously complex in high-pressure situations, and the personnel packages were meticulously chosen with a focused, malicious objective. The coaching staff quietly stacked the field with specific linemen and targeted receivers who were completely loyal to the old regime. Their overarching goal was to unleash a relentless, silent critique of the quarterback's performance from the inside out. They wanted the world to think he couldn't handle the pressure of the professional game. And what the game tape revealed next would turn this simple coaching dispute into a full-blown scandal. When you sit down and actually study the footage, it is genuinely unsettling. We aren't talking about rookies making innocent mistakes against elite edge rushers. The tape lays the entire conspiracy bare for anyone with eyes to see. You watch the center snap the ball and inexplicably hesitate, creating immediate interior pressure. You see veteran offensive tackles engaging their assignments only to release their blocks a fraction of a second too early, opening the floodgates. These weren't random errors or signs of a struggling unit. They were adhering to explicit, unwritten instructions. Every collapsed pocket, every blown gap assignment, and every chaotic scramble was intentionally crafted to paint a picture of incompetence. They wanted the narrative to be that the young quarterback was holding the ball too long, that he couldn't read defensive stunts, and that was entirely responsible for the negative yardage. The plan was executed with chilling precision. Watching the film, you see a quarterback desperately trying to pull off the impossible, battling to elevate the entire offense while the heavyweights meant to shield him were treating the snap count like a suggestion. The audacity of the so-called protectors is truly mind-blowing. They thought they could blend into the chaos of the gridiron, masking their deceit behind the physical nature of the sport. But even with the entire deck stacked against him, the master plan was about to hit a brick.
Now, we're seeing multiple mock drafts come out. Now, this one is actually from the Browns. 5 predictions for the Cleveland Browns, 2nd round. So this is a 2nd round mock up here. Following the conclusion of the 2026 season Super Bowl, the order of the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft will set boring future trades. The Browns' second round pick will be at number 39. So they will be entering at number 39. Now, the Browns have a total of 10 draft picks in the 2026 NFL draft, including 2 first-round picks, which are damn good picks, as well as their own picks in the 2nd through 5th round. And, who do they got? Matt Miller predicts that a linebacker will be picked up, and I believe this is the 2nd round.
So, this is a 2nd-round mock-up here following the conclusion of the 2026 season Super Music Bowl. The 2nd round. So, this is a 2nd-round mock-up here following the conclusion of the 2026 season Super Music Bowl. The number 39. So they will be entering at number 39. Now, the Browns have a total of 10 draft picks in the 2026 NFL Draft, including 2 first-round picks, which are damn good picks, as well as their own picks in the 2nd through 5th round, and who do they got? Matt Miller predicts that a linebacker will be picked up, and I believe this is the 2nd round. Despite the relentless pressure, the orchestrated hits, and the crumbling pocket, the mutiny failed to account for one crucial factor: elite, undeniable talent. Amidst all the artificially created turmoil, the young quarterback simply refused to fold. He kept producing results that defied logic. When the pocket collapsed from the inside, he made perfect pre-snap adjustments. When the edge rushers came completely unblocked, he showcased a graceful, elusive mobility, moving through the chaos like an artist. He delivered precise, blistering throws even while taking massive, unwarranted hits from blindside defenders. This is where the narrative completely unraveled for the old regime. The head coach had heavily leaned into a strategy of pointing fingers, quietly telling anyone who would listen that the kid just wasn't ready for the big leagues. But the numbers and the highlights told a wildly different story. 3rd down conversions that should have been guaranteed sacks were magically transformed into drive-extending strikes. Crucial red zone moments were executed flawlessly. You see him launching rockets off his back foot, threading the needle into non-existent windows that veteran signal callers wouldn't even dream of attempting. He was making the people trying to ruin him look foolish, consistently proving that the doubts surrounding him were total garbage. But while the quarterback was busy performing miracles on the turf, the local press was quietly sharpening their knives. You would think that witnessing a rookie completely bypass a collapsing offensive line to deliver game-winning throws would earn him the respect of the city, but the media scene in Cleveland proved to be entirely toxic. Instead of doing the hard journalistic work of pinpointing the bizarre behavior of the offensive line, they took the easy way out. They never dug into the discrepancies on the tape. They never questioned why veteran linemen were suddenly playing like absolute amateurs. Instead, they aimed their microphones and their columns directly at the quarterback, treating him as the root cause of the franchise's struggles. It was utterly disgraceful. They twisted the story, casting the actual victim of the situation as an arrogant antagonist who was disrupting the locker room. They provided a massive smokescreen for the true shortcomings within the organization. Anytime a fan or an independent analyst chaotic sacks, and the fumbled snaps were entirely on the shoulders of the guy throwing the ball. It was a masterclass in shifting the blame. And just when it's pointed out the blatant missed blocks on social media, the traditional beat reporters brushed it off as wild conspiracy theories. They protected the old coaching regime, behaving as if the chaotic sacks and the fumbled snaps were entirely on the shoulders of the guy throwing the ball. It was a masterclass in shifting the blame. And just when it seemed like this toxic cycle of media manipulation and locker room betrayal would never break, a massive front office earthquake changed everything. Enter Todd Monken. The moment he took the reins, the atmosphere in the building shifted from toxic to strictly business. He didn't come in to make friends, and he certainly didn't care about protecting the feelings of the veterans who had compromised the integrity of the team. He sat down, watched the uncut tape, saw the reality of the sabotage, and jumped into action with an iron fist. He didn't just tweak the blocking schemes or reassign a position coach. He executed a total unapologetic purge. Completely overhauling all 5 offensive line spots in one off-season isn't just a bold move. It is a monumental franchise-altering statement. It sends a chilling message to every single player in the locker room. No one messes with the franchise quarterback. He took the deceitful imposters in uniform, the guys who thought they could blend their fake effort into the chaos of a Sunday afternoon, and show them the door. This is what authentic leadership looks like in motion. The fans, the independent analysts, and everyone tuning in immediately recognized that this was the exact level of drastic action required to save the team. The organization was finally standing up for its star player, promoting a culture of absolute loyalty, and ending the bias and setbacks with a single brutal roster move. But clearing out the dead weight was only step one, because the upcoming draft would be the true test of this franchise's survival. Looking ahead to the 2026 NFL Draft, the entire landscape of the Cleveland War Room has shifted. Forget about the standard operating procedures. Forget about drafting the best available athlete regardless of position. Management is sitting on a mountain of draft capital, boasting 10 total selections, including 2 massive first-round picks. And with the 39th overall pick waiting in the early second round, the strategy is crystal clear. Everything revolves around securing the perimeter and building an impenetrable fortress. Mock drafts are flying in from every direction, with analysts like Matt Miller predicting various defensive pickups or hidden gem linebackers. But let's get completely real for a second. Management cannot afford to waste a single early selection on a luxury defensive player. Every single name called to the podium needs to be someone who will protect the pocket, provide a reliable target, and bring an attitude of absolute loyalty to the huddle. If a scout flags an offensive lineman as having a questionable attitude or a history of not working well within a modern scheme, you rip his name off the board entirely. You don't let another guy into that building who might harbor resentment or refuse to buy into the new culture. If the front office misses this chance to build a concrete wall around their superstar, they are throwing away a golden once-in-a-generation opportunity. But securing the trenches wasn't enough, because an even bigger threat was still hiding in plain sight out wide. The receiver situation leading into the 2026 season was nothing short of chaotic. And it's high time someone tackled the massive elephant in the receiver room. On one side of the field, there's Isaiah Bond. This is an up-and-coming electric playmaker who battles ferociously for every single inch of turf. When you watch his tape, you see a guy leaping off the ground, snagging crucial third-down passes over the middle and dropping perfectly into the soft spots of his own defense. He is the blueprint for the new era. But then on the other side of the field, there's Jerry Jeudy. This isn't just about dropped passes or a lack of chemistry. It is a deeply rooted cultural issue. Jeudy was widely viewed as the old regime's chosen guy, the absolute last lingering remnant from the sabotage saga. When the old regime was pulling strings, Jeudy's name was constantly brought up as a piece of the puzzle meant to frustrate the passing game. Every sloppy route, every lackluster attempt at a contested catch, and every moment the timing fell inexplicably short seemed perfectly aligned with a coach intent on taking the quarterback out of his rhythm. When the old regime was officially ousted, there is absolutely zero logical reason to keep that kind of energy in the locker room. The demand from the fan base is deafening. Ship him out, send him straight back to Atlanta to reunite with his old boss, and clear the air completely. You cannot afford to keep a player who represents the darkest, most toxic chapter of this young quarterback's career. And with the traitors finally exposed, the stage is set for a comeback that nobody ever saw coming. This isn't just a story about a football team trying to improve their